And now, without delaying much, we will start the paper presentation. So, we have 5 participants in this session. The first one is Sarita Samuel. Sarita Samuel. I think it is a joint paper with Rashmi Pulizala, St. Anne's College, or Women, Hyderabad. This paper is on the title of The Development of Feminism in English Literature through the 19th and 20th century. I hope Sarita Samuel or Rashmi Pulizal is with us in this paper presentation technical session. So I would like to invite Sarita Samuel to present her paper. I just want to save some time for the open forum at the end of the session. So I request all the participants, all the paper presenters, please conclude and brief your paper within 7 to 8 minutes so that we can save some time for the open forum at the end of the session. So I request Sarita Samuel to begin with the presentation. Do we have Sarita Samuel with us?
May I request Sarita or Rashmi, either of you can present the paper if any one of you is present here. Ma'am, I think there is some technical glitch. They may be trying to contact us. We can move on to the next paper, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. So the another participant, the another paper presentation presenter is Shyamal Haldar, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, Hooghly Mohsin College, Hooghly, from West Bengal. His paper is on Beyond the Binary, a study of gender in Virginia Woolf's Orlando, a biography. I believe Shyamal Haldar is with us.
Yes,
kindly start your presentation.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers of this webinars, and thank you also for giving me this opportunity to present my paper here. And I'm going to present this brief in a very short period of time. I will not take much time for this presentation. Okay, so the title of my paper is Beyond the Binary, a study of gender in Virginia Woolf's Orlando, a biography. Now, sexuality is a natural expression of an individual's free will, as we know. This is why the dominant ideological forces desperately seek to control and suppress the free expression of sexuality. In his book, Pleasure of the Text, Roland Barthes points to the notion of the human body as a site of resistance to social control, which forms the core of the individual's sense of free will. In Orlando, a biography by Virginia Woolf, here the authoress tackles and paints the concepts of gender roles and gender identity. Gender differs from sex in the sense that sex refers to one's biological makeup and reproductive organs. That does not necessarily mean that biology creates personality and therefore determines the expression of male or female gender. The novel presents an individual not conforming characteristically to either of these genders, the two genders, the binary forms of the genders. Rather, the novel challenges the fixity of binarism of gender identity. The literary representation of the issue of gender role and sex role stereotypes in heteronormative society has enjoyed serious critical attention. But with this novel, Orlando, Virginia Woolf challenges the homophobia with daring suggestions of cross-sexuality. Though Woolf's novel is not the first piece of fiction about a sex change, for example, Ovid's Metamorphoses is a playful and serious treatise on the changeability of form, especially human form, as humans turn into trees or animals, or the gods embody themselves as human to pursue their love interests. Even in the Arabian Nights, there are both gender gender switching plots and cross-dressing. Even Shakespeare is popular for using gender disguises. And of course, the obvious reason for such a device on part of Shakespeare is that women were not allowed on the London stage in Shakespeare's time. Even a female role was cross-gendered. Every female role in Shakespeare's time was cross-gendered. The present text, Virginia Woolf's Orlando, was innovative at her time, as it defied the Victorian values held by a big part of society. It mocks the compulsory heterosexuality and challenges homophobia. Here, Woolf draws our attention to the constructed nature of sexuality and gender of a protagonist and comes out with daring suggestions of cross-sex desire. In Bodies That Matter, renowned theorist and philosopher Judith Butler argues that theories of gender need to return to the most material dimension of sex and sexuality, the body. Butler offers a brilliant reworking of the body, examining how the power of heterosexual hegemony forms the matter of bodies, sex, and gender, exploring how males and females are complicit in Butlerian way in which both genders are imagined. Woolf's novel can be a testimony where it has been suggested that meanings that are normally attached to sexuality lie outside the body itself. It challenges the sharply demarcated gender binarism and wishfully portrays the idea of gender bending, a form of social behavior strategy adopted by the non-normatively gendered individuals to defy rigidly assigned gender roles and sex role stereotypes, notably in cases where the gender non-conforming persons find these roles oppressive. Liberation from a constructed gender identity may be achieved through the androgynous merging of masculine and feminine identities, as in the Hindu deity Ardhanarishwara, confines of Lord Shiva and his consort Parvati, as mythologically symbolized by the classical Hermaphrodite, representing the totality that lies beyond duality. Virginia Woolf's novel, the way Woolf creates her protagonist, Orlando, in this novel, it actually relies upon a certain amount of wordplay in order to maintain his or her androgynous nature. It is precisely by mixing up these words that Woolf is able to create a genuine air of androgyny. According to Woolf, Orlando is born and raised as a boy. There could be no doubt about that. However, later in the first segment of the novel, he is described in quite a peculiar way. Orlando is described as having eyes like drenched violets and shapely legs. This is clearly a breach of the code of rigid gender roles. As a reader, we can be surprised to see that a woman who is having, that a man who is having this kind of characteristic features, physical features. In Western culture, shapely legs and beautiful eyes are specifically attributed to women. And also, after being metamorphosed into a female body, Orlando soon becomes unhappy because he realizes that the men around her don't really appreciate her for her intellect. This happened especially when she was spending time with the famous writers of 18th century England. She begins to dress again in men's clothes. At one point of the story, we know from the story that Orlando, in a male attire, reveals her true identity, gender identity, to Nellie and her friends, a prostitute, and her associates, the friends of that prostitute in that area, and they started sharing their life stories. From that point onwards, Orlando adopts a strategy of cross-dressing depending on her mood and state as a form of wishful defiance of rigidly assigned gender roles. Gender itself is a revolt against the patriarchal ideology of binding the individual body or identity within the fixed, unalterable confines of phallogocentric society. The striking testimony of which is presented in the following lines. Orlando goes and takes a walk. In nature, she finds happiness. She falls down and breaks her ankle when she is near a lake. She is saved by a man named Selmadine, and they got engaged immediately. They spent a lot of time together, and they are. She is a woman, and Orlando was a man. So it's a perfect match for each other. Thus, Woolf's handling of the issue of gender identity of her protagonist questions the male-female as well as masculine-feminine binaries. The novel also argues, and quite legitimately, that Orlando, who is recognizable as both male and female, defies rigidly assigned gender roles and sex role stereotypes and bends the gender identity at his or her own will. By eradicating the sexual difference and embracing the biological fluidity and psychological androgyny, the novel reconstructs a post-gendered intersubjective space where body becomes a site of individual investment. And that's the way the novel presented the protagonist, Orlando. It also postulates that the body is the site where power is contested and negotiated, providing scholars with the ability to examine the fluidity of privilege and marginalization. That's all. Thank you, ma'am. So this is all what I have to say regarding this paper. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Shyamal Haldar, sir. You have presented your paper so well, and we will take up all the questions at the end of the session. So I would like to invite another paper presenter, Ashish Prasad Gupta, Central University of Jharkhand, Ranchi, and the paper is on gender stereotype, a social barrier in achieving equality, illustrates in text talks of Chimananda Nzoyi Adichie. I hope Ashish Prasad Gupta is with us in this paper presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so please start your presentation. Kindly please adhere the time.
Okay,
kindly conclude your paper within 7-8 minutes so that we can save some time for the open forum at the end of the session.
Okay. Shall I start, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. Please start.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity for presenting in this great platform. So my topic is Gender Stereotype, a Social Barrier in Achieving Equality, illustrates in TED Talk of Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is one of the popular Nigerian writer who was described in the Times Literary Supplement as the most prominent of a procession of critically acclaimed young author who is succeeding in attracting a new generation of readers to African literature. I take one TED Talk video lecture of Chimamanda given in TED Austin, London, entitled "We Should All Be Feminist," which is very famous video which has been watched 5 million times. She shares her view on gender stereotype, how this notion creates the human tendency to react. She says this stereotype is a social barrier in achieving equality and how we can successfully implement the real motive of feminism in our society. The mainstream society lives in the state of compulsory synchronization with the social norms. Majority prefers to conform to cultural, social, and gender stereotype, which results in the ghettoization within the society. Hence, the little space are created to which marginalized are pushed. In her video, she mentioned the term happy feminist. She describes beautifully how she is very happy with her feministic view, and she also says she looks forward to accept the fault of our society and she tries to fix it. African literature has a long history, its origin being in the popular practices of storytelling and theatre, and its traditional cultures are as ancient as any other regional area of the world, both orally and written in form. Nigeria's literature started with the oral tradition and was promoted by her literary past, anonymous heroes such as colonial bards, warriors, storytellers, preachers, and many more. In Adichie's work, the representation of women is also important to feminism, racism, and womanism. In Adichie's work, women strive tirelessly to achieve much needed emancipation for conventional laws, socio-political, economical disempowerment, male domination, and racial differentiation. In the Nigerian society, this is vividly depicted by Adichie's work. More and more peoples are banding together to put an end to many years of deep-rooted patriarchy and senseless subjugation of women. Feminism is the revolutionary movement that has brought about the worldwide most prosperous and reformist transformation of human society. And this is one of the most important social movements of the past 2 centuries. TED Talks is a program of local self-organized event that bring people together to share a TED-like experience. At a TED Talks event, TED Talks videos and live speakers combine to spark deep discussion and connection in a small group. These local self-organized events are branded TED, where X independently organized TED event. The TED conference provides general guidance for the TED programs, but individually, TED events are self-organized. She also mentioned that she was a TED Austin feminist titled "We Should All Be Feminist." The talk "We Should All Be Feminist" are released in 2014 as a book that became a popular talk on feminism, as this talk was sampled for 2013 album "Flawless" by American performer Beyonce. Adichie converses about the conflicting concept in masculinity and femininity in this lecture. Adichie begins a talk on growing up in Nigeria with a variety of personal stories. In one of these accounts, she remembers a male friend calling her a feminist, obviously meaning it is an insult. She was very young when her childhood friend said her a feminist. She did not know the meaning of feminist. She thought it is a negative remark given by his friend. In another, a boy is given a desired reward by her instructor since he earned a second highest marks on the qualifying exam. Furthermore, Adichie comments, "We teach girls to shrink themselves, to make themselves smaller. We say to girls, you can have ambition, but not too much. You should aim to be successful, but not too successful. Otherwise, you would threaten the man. If you are the breadwinner in a relationship with a man, pretend that you are not, especially in public. Otherwise, you will emasculate him." Adichie has also spoken about gender problems. She believes one has changed, but their gender concept has not changed much. Adichie speaks about the society's mentality, and girls are thought to be likable, but we don't teach boys the same. She notes, "We spend too much time teaching girls to worry about what boys think of them, but the reverse is not the same. We don't teach boys to care about being likable. We spend too much time telling girls that they cannot be angry or aggressive or tough, which is bad enough. But then we turn around and either praise or excuse men for the same reason." Adichie points out the suggestion given her on the occasion of book promotion when one journalist came to her and says, "I have one suggestion for you, that your novel is feminist and you should not call yourself a feminist because feminists are those who could not find good husband for herself." After that incident, Adichie started calling herself as a happy feminist and happy African feminist. This is our patriarchal society mentality who seeks for equality for all genders. Journalist negative comment on Adichie clearly showing that our society thinks women as a helping agent who can only survive when they get support from the men. Adichie also points out the gender discriminative role of individuals and the pay disparity between men and women. Adichie goes on to say that Nigeria, if any woman has found money, she should have received from a man. Women work the same job for the less money, and for fear of being deemed means, they must not speak of in a workplace. Adichie argues that the teaching of adherence to rigid gender roles in a great harm to both men and women. Everybody needs to understand that there is sexism, and everyone has to struggle to solve this problem. She described about the happy feminist who fights for the equality so gently that she does not hate men and does not challenging the biological role of each gender. We should all be feminists, but feminist not only as a contribution of women's liberation, but also as a way of empowering men to have sexuality, beauty, jobs, and performance discussion with women. Being a feminist means fighting for women's rights and seeking to make the world a better place for women. Feminism do not question the social roles of either gender entirely, since it merely aims to revolutionize patriarchy by providing equal conditions and resources for men and women. Feminism considers people as human beings and seeks to counter the social injustice that suppresses the desire and the capacity of individual to meet societal standard. Adichie mentioned about the great Kenyan poet laureate, late Muta Mathai. Once she said, "The higher you go, the fewer women there are. Men and women doing same job, but pay less to the women. Every reputed positions hold by the men from upper to lower position. Women are kisser in the position just because they are neat men. Primarily people of the society, women are never been the good substitute of the man. In literary way, men rule the world. It makes a sense that men ruled the world, but 1,000 years ago, where physical strength needed for the survival. But today, we does not need the physical strength for the survival, but we need creativity, innovative, and intelligent person. And there are no such hormones which generate this quality for only the man. Men and women both can survive individually in this century with their creativity. We have evolved, but idea of gender have not evolved. If women alone go to the hotels, then she would be recognized as a sex worker in Africa. If you don't want to recognize as a sex worker, then you have to with the male companion. In hotel, waiter greets only man. Waiters are brought up of the society where man holds the position. This is the gender biasness of the society, which needs to change according to the time. Gender as it functions today, everyone should be angry. Anger has its long history to bringing up positive change. In addition of being angry, Adichie also has a hope in the ability of evolution power of a human to make and remake themselves for the better. She dreamed about the happier world where men and women are true to themselves, where we raise our daughter and son differently. She says, masculinity has been caged into a narrow passage where boys have to hard before world. Masculinity is now linked to the money. If boy and girl went to the restaurant and boys have to pay the bill and prove his masculinity. But this totally wrong prediction of the masculinity according to the Adichie. Money should not be linked with that. But whoever have more should pay. Why boys steal money from the parents just because he have to pay everywhere? Marriage is pure bonding of two souls, but institution of marriage owns by the male. Language of the marriage is ownership rather than partnership. If a girl marry late is the sign of a failure, but men who do not marry is the kind of ad. But man who do marry is the kind of ad on his career. This is our society is brought up where we infuse the gender stereotype in our mind that women are weaker creatures. They need support in every part of life by the men. They cannot survive without the help of a man. Women are learned to respect the man, and women doing it very gently. But men never learn to respect women because they never think about it and never listen this from their surrounding to respect women. At the end of the discussion, Adichie hypothetically says, "What if women get liberty? What if women did not case to the kitchens? What if power distribution is similar to women as men? What if women gets equal respect as men? If man gives equal right, what if man gives equal right in marriage? What if social barriers based on gender vanish? And many more." She says, if it is going to happen, then our society would not be less than a paradise. Adichie gives example of Igbo culture that twins were considered as a curse, but time changed. Twin killing stopped. Similarly, thinking of man towards women should also be changed. The real feminists are those who says, yes, there is a problem in gender, and we must fix it. Gender discrimination is curse for the society. Gender stereotype must be break. Problem was originated from the society, and society must acknowledge the problem and fix it. All of us, man, women and men, must do better. Thank you. Thank you for listening, all of you.
Thank you so much, Ashish Prasad Gupta. Your presentation was really nice. We will discuss certain points at the end of the session. So now, without delaying much, I would like to invite next paper presenter of this technical session, Bharat GC, Department of English, Bengaluru, Central University, India. The paper is on the role of women in conservation of ecology in India. I suppose we have Bharat GC with us. Kindly start your presentation. Do we have Bharat GC with us? Bharat GC from the Department of English, Bengaluru, Central University, India. Bharat GC, can you hear us? Okay, so the another participant is Pandey Rahul Kumar P, Department of Diaspora and Migration Studies, Gujarat University, Ahmedabad. The title of the paper is Caste and Added Societal Margin for Women. Do we have Pandey Rahul Kumar P with us? Pandey Rahul Kumar, can you hear me? If you are present with us, please start your presentation. Bharat GC, Pandey Rahul Kumar, and Sarita Samuel. Abhimanyu ji, I think these participants have not joined us.
Let me get in touch with the organizer to see if we can get in contact with them. Just give me a moment, please.
Sure.
Hello, Dr. Swati. Swati ma'am. Dr. Swati?
Yes, I can hear you. So now we have another. Yes, we have another paper presenter with us.
All right.
Yes,
Dr.
Abhimanyu.
And those who are not present, we can skip them. And I think they are aware of the fact and that if you don't present the paper, you won't get the certificate also. So these people who have skipped it, let us skip and go to the next paper presenter.
Sure. So now the another paper presenter we have Dr. Simpi Kumari Chaturvedi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Usha Martin University, Ranchi, Jharkhand. The title of the paper is Standpoint on Gender Adoption, Employing English as a Second Language. I would like to invite the participant, Dr. Shimpi Kumari Chaturvedi, to present the paper. Shimpi, kindly unmute yourself first.
Yes, am I audible?
Yeah, you are very much audible.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. And thank you. I want to thank all the organizer for giving me opportunity to present my research paper in this conference. So the title of my paper is Standpoint on Gender Adoption, Employing English as a Second Language. So basically, my study is going to examine the impact of gender on students' achievement in learning English as a foreign language. And research into the relationship between second foreign language learning and gender has actually witnessed a considerable change in the past 3 decades. So as it has been informed by emerging conceptualization of gender in language studies, so early research focused on sex-based differences in women's and men's. So linguistic repertoire viewing sex as a fixed bipolar category, which could be correlated with language and language learning. So, and by contrast, later studies has investigated the relationship between gender and speech patterns. So, defining gender as a dynamic characteristics grounded in our social activities and context. So, the shift in perspective from dominance framework to social constructivist approaches has actually prompted alternative accounts of differences in learners' language, which gain between the two gender groups. The basic assumptions in both the dominance and difference theories is that women and men constitute a static and very internally homogeneous group, and the main aim of researcher has been to identify and explain gender specific features in their linguistics repertoire. So the current field of language and gender studies has come a long way since its inception over 30 years ago. And although it is quite difficult to pinpoint the exact time language and gender as a unit become an independent area of research, or indeed an identity, a single key research questions has resulted in its establishment as a viable area of study. So during this time, it has taken many twists and turns and continues to be dynamic and ever growing area of research today. And traditionally speaking, however, the research into the relationship between language and gender has mainly centered on language usage, so and gender as opposed to language learning. So the most well-known gendered aspect of second and foreign language learning, and indeed the key issues for many is probably that girls tend to perform, and in some countries girls do so much better than entrance requirements are lowered for boys applying to attend English medium schools, and languages may sometimes be seen as girl subjects because girls tend to choose languages. And in the UK, where after 11 years, students can vote with their feet and deselect themselves from the languages classes. More boys and girls do this. So gender differences is in subject choice are however decreasing. So this may be partly because boys and girls may now be getting more similar advice from parents than previously. So till 1990 to today, there is a huge difference framework and the community of practice approach. So over the past 15 to 20 years, language and gender research has become even more dynamic and diverse. The dawn of the age of political correctness in the early 90s, in some ways, kick-started the whole area of feminist linguistics by changing the cultural context within which many old and new questions could be raised, such as the notion of sexiest discourse. So it had the effect of rising the human conscience in Western societies on an ethical level, and feminist linguists has much to offer during this time, pointing out offensive and very exclusionary language often related to both ethnic and gender concern. So during the 1990s, the third model, the difference model, gained very substantial ground. This particular approach moved away from notions of deficiency and hierarchy towards one that is based on the notion and communication between the sexes is in fact communication between male and female subcultures. So moving towards how gender is involved in second language acquisition in research. So when we talk about SLA, second language acquisition research relating to the gender variable, it is often included amongst SLA research relating to similar variables like age, race, ethnicity, personality, and so on. So there has been some research which has examined the effect of such variables on the SLA process, notably the effect of age on language 2 learner and language 2 learner's personality. So just for instance, Larson, Freeman and Long has given, he has dedicated an entire chapter on the to the consideration of the effect of what they term individual variables on SLA opposed to native language variables. So input variables and instructional variables, which they deal with extensively in the other chapter of their book relating to SLA research. So unlike some of the research into gender and SLA that we have seen thus far, study does not exclusively focus on specific learner characteristics, but encompasses other factors such as identity construction, power relation, and the role of classrooms and the practices that take place within the classroom. So in particular, it took gender participation or lack thereof in the SLA process, especially within the language classroom. So it investigates the construction of gendered behaviors by examining teaching approaches and how at some students, depending on their gender, often get more or less access to linguistic space or particular opportunities to talk in the classroom by the teacher or through their teaching methods. So to conclude, I would like to say that while the issues addressed throughout in my research paper, so there are only some of the many currently being tackled within the field of SLA, socio-linguistics, and language and gender studies. It has helped illuminate some of the current themes central to SLA and gender. So each of the variables of language, SLA, and genders are regarded as being fluid and very complex in their nature. And in spite of this, their complexities and their interrelatedness, it is very and therefore cannot be simply disregarded. So the study of social and sociological dimension of the SLA process and of language and gender being undertaken suggests a number of possible direction for future research relating to the role of gender in SLA. So there is a need to investigate the process that contribute to the second language learner becoming more proficient and or not as the case may be in the second language. So to this end, further research into SLA approach is necessary that can encompass social relations and a more holistic view of the speaker and learner, not just in terms of how they speak, but who they are and what they do. So where they do it and how they define themselves. This is a brief, slides view of my paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shimpi K. Chaturvedi. It was really a wonderful study and a good paper which you have presented. We will discuss some of the points related to your paper. Once again, I would like to know, do we have Sarita Samuel with us and another paper presenter, Bharat GC and Pandey Rahul Kumar? Do we have any of these people? Those should be here to present their paper. So, Dr. Abhimanyu, shall we conclude the session, or we are waiting for these research paper presenters? Do we have these?
Ma'am, I think the paper presenters should have been here if they wanted, but if they are not here, let us conclude it then, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Abhimanyu. So, first of all, I want to congratulate all the paper presenters that they have presented their papers and their study on this topic, gender studies. It was really wonderful. I would like to tell you few things here related to your papers. First of all, I want to take the paper Shyamal Haldar. Shyamal Haldar, his title of the paper was Beyond the Binary, a Study of Gender in Virginia Woolf's Orlando, a Biography. The study was really wonderful. It was a nice study and the research has been done in a very concrete way. As he talked about the sexuality, he has also talked about women's resistance to society. He discussed about the gender roles. He also talked about the homophobia as it is discussed by so many dramatists and the writers in their works. He has also discussed about the gender as a patriarchal system. So his paper was based on all these points and I found a very interesting paper. Also, he has briefed all these points which he has taken in his paper. So Shyamal Haldar, I want to congratulate you and it was a nice paper. So thank you so much for presenting your paper. Now I would like to discuss another paper. This was the paper of Ashish Prasad Gupta. The title of the paper was Gender Stereotype, a Social Barrier in Achieving Equality, illustrates in TEDx talks of Chinmananda Nizoi Adichie. This was really a nice paper and I found it very interesting because this paper was only based on the Nigerian women and the patriarchal system of Nigeria. Though this patriarchal system is prevailing in all the society, in all the countries, he focused his study only on this Nigeria and he has talked about marginalized masculinity, femininity and feminist patriarchal society of Nigeria. He has also discussed about the equality between men and women. He has also talked about the single identity of a woman, the single women identity. He has quoted one example when the woman is going to a restaurant or a party, then she is considered as a sex worker. Rather, she may have come there to have a cup of coffee or to meet someone. But if you will see a single lady, it means she is wrong. So he has taken very good example also. And also he has talked about the gender biasness in the society in Nigeria. He has also raised some of the questions on marriage, the taboo of marriage, the system of the marriage. So his paper was really interesting. The study was very good. It was a little bit new, and he has used one word that was a happy feminist, and this was a new word. So I found it very interesting. Some of the things were really new. So it was a good study, and the paper was presented very well. So thank you so much, Ashish Prashad Gupta. I want to congratulate you to present such a wonderful paper.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now I'm moving towards another paper. It was presented by Dr. Shimpi K. Chaturvedi. And the topic of this paper was, the title of this paper was Standpoint on Gender Adoption, Employing English as a Second Language. Really, it was a new study because here the gender has been, related to the language, a subject. Though it is true that some of the subjects are like, okay, these are the girl subjects, like sociology, economics, English. So if these subjects comes in the mind, so it is considered that these subjects are for girls. And if we are talking about mathematics, if we are talking about, engineering subjects, then it is considered, okay, these subjects are for the boys. So I found this, this topic and this paper really very interesting, because she has talked about that how the English language, ESL, is considered, the language for girls, and how there is a gender biasness related to the language and subjects also. So Dr. Shimpi has talked about the language and gender. She has also talked about that English language is considered a language for girls. She has also talked about gender difference in subject and language choice. And she has also discussed social and sociological dimensions to gender studies in ESL. It was a new study and a new outlook of gender studies. Really, it was a nice paper, and Dr. Shimpi has presented in a very well manner. But here, I just want to advise you one thing, Dr. Shimpi.
Yes.
It is just my one suggestion. If you want to include it, in this paper, you can do a survey to give support to your research and your study. That,
yes, ma'am.
What is the survey? How many boys are taking ESL as a subject, and how many girls? So it will prove a support to your paper. So this is my piece of advice to you. It is just a suggestion. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable suggestions. Thanks a lot.
So here I conclude the session. Thank you so much. I want to thank to the organizers to invite me to steer this session. I'm really thankful to you. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Abhimanyu.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Swati Chauhan, for chairing this session in a very cheerful way and a wonderful way that you have always done in the previous sessions too. As you have rightly said, though I shouldn't be adding something now, but just on a lighter note, a thought came to my mind. We talk about English as a girl subject. It is very true. Mathematics as a guy subject. I wonder when this stereotype mentality will break, that the guys will also take home science for the graduation and post-graduation. So in University of Jammu, I hardly see any boy entering into the Department of Home Sciences. So you are absolutely right. Shimpi has done a very genderizing not genderizing, but doing the gender-based study of the subjects. So Dr. Swati, thank you so much for chairing the session, and congratulations to all the participants who got this opportunity and the honor to present their paper in presence under the chair of Dr. Swati. So we